There's a moment where growth starts to feel addictive. Revenue is rising. Opportunities are stacking. Momentum feels real. And the instinct is almost automatic. Push faster. Scale harder. Take more of what's working and pour fuel on it. I've felt that pull too. When things finally start moving, slowing down feels almost irresponsible, like you're leaving opportunity on the table. But here's the uncomfortable truth: most people only learn after the fact. Scaling faster can quietly make your income system more fragile, not stronger. It doesn't feel that way in the moment. In the moment, speed feels like progress. Clients are coming in. Cash flow is improving. The business looks healthier from the outside, but underneath, something more subtle can start happening. Pressure begins to concentrate. I remember a stretch where growth was clearly working. Acquisition was strong, conversion was clean, and revenue was stepping up month over month. Naturally, the next thought was, how do we accelerate this? More outreach, more clients, more capacity. On paper, that looked like the right move. But what I didn't fully appreciate yet was how much of the system was still sensitive to load. Because early growth often hides structural weaknesses. Things work until they're stressed. Scaling exposes what stability was quietly covering. When you grow slowly, small inefficiencies stay manageable. Delivery gaps are easier to patch. Client experience is easier to protect. Decision fatigue stays contained. But when you accelerate too quickly, the system loses its margin for error. Response times slip. Quality control tightens. Communication overhead multiplies. And your personal involvement often rises at exactly the moment you expected it to fall. That's the first warning sign. If scaling is increasing your personal load instead of reducing it, the system isn't strengthening yet, it's stretching. I've seen builders mistake demand for readiness. Just because more clients are available doesn't mean the infrastructure is ready to absorb them cleanly. There's a difference between the market pulling you forward and the system being ready to carry the weight. When those two get out of sync, growth starts to feel heavier instead of cleaner. Speed amplifies whatever structure already exists, strong or weak. If your acquisition is diversified, scaling expands stability. If your acquisition is concentrated, scaling magnifies exposure. If your delivery is systemized, scaling increases leverage. If your delivery still depends heavily on you, scaling increases pressure. That's why fast growth sometimes surprises people. The revenue goes up, but the business feels more fragile. More moving parts, more expectations, more points of failure. And if margin hasn't expanded alongside volume, the financial cushion doesn't grow as fast as the operational complexity. That's another quiet risk. Early in the journey, growth solves most problems. More revenue covers mistakes. More clients mask inefficiencies. Momentum hides friction. But later, growth starts to reveal things instead of fixing them. I remember hitting a point where we could clearly push harder and grow faster. The demand was there. The opportunity was obvious. But something felt tight operationally. Not broken, just stretched. That feeling matters more than most dashboards. Because businesses rarely break overnight. They usually show strain first. Longer response times, more internal friction, less calendar flexibility, subtle quality dips. None of these look dramatic individually. But together, they signal that speed may be outpacing structure. Healthy scaling should make the business feel calmer, not more tense. That line became a useful checkpoint for me. When growth is well-timed, it increases margin and optionality. When it's premature, it increases noise and dependency. There's also a psychological trap here. Fast growth creates momentum pressure. When revenue is climbing, the idea of intentionally pacing growth can feel wrong, almost like self-sabotage. But disciplined builders know something important. Not every opportunity needs to be captured immediately. Sometimes the strongest move is to stabilize the system before pushing harder, to reinforce delivery, to diversify acquisition, to widen margins, to remove yourself from critical paths. Because scaling a sensitive system just produces a larger sensitive system. I've watched businesses double revenue and simultaneously double stress because the underlying structure wasn't ready for that velocity. From the outside, they looked like success stories. From the inside, they felt increasingly fragile. That's the paradox. Growth without structural readiness converts momentum into pressure. This doesn't mean you avoid scaling. It means you sequence it. Push, stabilize, then push again. The strongest income systems usually grow in controlled waves, not constant acceleration. They expand, then reinforce. Expand, then simplify. Expand, then remove bottlenecks. That rhythm builds durability. So how do you know if you're scaling too fast? There are a few honest signals. If client quality is slipping, if delivery feels rushed, if your calendar is getting tighter as revenue rises, if small problems are taking longer to resolve, if margin isn't widening alongside growth, these aren't signs to panic. They're signals to reinforce. Because the goal isn't just to grow income, it's to grow income in a way the system can comfortably carry. The strongest businesses don't just scale revenue, they scale stability first. So if you're in a season where growth is clearly available, and that's a good place to take a second to look underneath the numbers, is the system getting calmer as it grows? Or just busier? Because speed is powerful, but only when the structure underneath it is ready to hold the weight.